verklaren beloofd is.
Now, there are two ways you can become a Dutch citizen. If you were married to a Dutch citizen, you can keep your original citizenship. How much people don't know about passport privilege. This video is going to tell you everything about how to get this. Welcome back to my channel. This is Rashi, and today we're going to talk all about the Dutch naturalization process. Now, if you've clicked on this video, you're either thinking of getting the Dutch passport or you're in the process, or you just want to know more about this process. So today I'm just going to go through my experience and the process I had step by step through the process and all the information you need to know to get the Dutch citizenship. Now, there are two ways you can become a Dutch citizen. One is through option and one is through naturalization. Naturalization is the most common method because that's for anyone who's lived here for the required amount of time. Option method is for people previously had the Dutch citizenship and lost it or were born in the Netherlands. I'll leave a link below to the more information on that, but I don't know much about that because that was not my process. So in this video, we're going to talk about the naturalization process. So let's quickly go through the requirements of applying for the Dutch citizenship. Now, once you've decided you want the Dutch citizenship, there are timelines for that. You can apply for the Dutch citizenship if you've lived in the Netherlands for 5 years consecutively and legally. There's one exception to this. If you're married to a Dutch citizen, you can then apply for the citizenship in 3 years. The other requirement is at the time of applying for the citizenship, your permit, whether it's a residence permit, dependent permit, it has to be valid for another year on the date of application. So say you have a residence permit for 5 years and you want to apply for the Dutch citizenship immediately after 5 years, you will have to renew your permit and then apply. And the last requirement is you need to pass the integration exam and have the inburgering certificate with you. Now, once you have all the documents, you can apply for the citizenship. And this is the process step by step from my experience. So once you have finished the number of years you are required to live here, you can make a phone call to the gemeente and make an appointment for naturalization process. When I finished my number of years of living here and I wanted to apply for this, there was a waiting time for 6 months for this appointment. So you need to plan ahead. So I wanted to apply in August and I called them in August and they told me the first available appointment date is in February, which really was very disheartening because I didn't want to wait 6 months just to apply. So plan ahead. If you're coming up to the end of the number of years you have to live here, maybe call a few months ahead already to get that appointment. Now, what I did was I called every week, at least twice a week, to the gemeente to ask if they had a cancellation. And after, I think, 4 or 5 times of calling every week, they had a cancellation and I did get an appointment in August like I wanted. So yeah, that's a trick you could use, but just plan ahead and you should be fine. Now, online it says that you need 2 appointments. So first is for them to just check your documents and the second one is to actually apply. But if your documents are all in order, you can just apply in the first appointment, because then when you go for your first appointment, the second appointment might not be available again for a few months. So make sure you have every document that you need. I will go through some of the documents that you need in this video, but of course, based on your situation, there might be something extra. So do look that up. I will leave a link below also to all the documents required that is stated on the IND website. You need the original valid passport from your current nationality. You need a birth certificate from your current country. And for India, you need to have the birth certificate attested in India, which I also needed to move here. So I already had that. But if you don't have that, you need to have it attested. And if your birth certificate is in another language, you need to have it translated and I think notarized also in the Netherlands, but Indian birth certificate is in English as well, so I didn't have to do that. You also need to show that you have a valid residence permit at the moment of application, so you need to take that with you as well. Your inburgering certificate, so the fact that you finished the integration exam, and you need some money. The naturalization process does cost money, so at the time of application, you will be asked to pay the fees for the application. And I paid 960 euros, but I just checked and now it's increased up to 1,230 euros. So that's the fees you have to pay during your application. So these are all the things you need at the time of application. And while you're at the appointment at the gemeente worker will fill up the application with you. So they will ask you questions and they will fill up your form. They already have a lot of information about you through your BSN numbers. So this was a very smooth process. It hardly took like 15 minutes to do the whole application. Because all my documents were in place and nothing was incomplete, she went ahead and applied my application already in the first interview. This application I did was on the 12th of August, 2022. And after this application, it is a waiting game. You just have to wait it out and wait for IND to send you a letter. They also send it digitally to your Mijn Overheid inbox, so keep a close eye on that. And it can take anywhere from 6 months to a year for IND to give you a decision. I got my results from the IND on the 12th of February 2023, so almost exactly 6 months. And this is basically IND sending you a letter saying whether your decision was negative or positive. If it's negative, you can actually appeal the decision. I will leave a link below also for that, but I didn't experience that, so I don't know much. But I think there is something you can do if the result is negative. But I received a letter that the result is positive, and now I had to wait for the king to sign the decree. So basically, IND sending you a message that the decision was positive does not make you a Dutch citizen yet. You only become a Dutch citizen when the king signs your royal decree of the Dutch citizenship. When I received this message on the 12th of February, I was walking through the canals in Amsterdam and I saw this email pop up and I immediately opened it. And I can't tell you the feeling I felt. I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I felt I can finally live in this beautiful country and city. It was such an amazing experience to read this while walking through one of the prettiest areas of Amsterdam. And I just felt like this city is now mine. This is now my city and my country, and I belong here. And I have to tell you, it was an amazing feeling. But from this day on, there was still 6 months to go for this whole process to end. So let's move on with that. So once I received this message, I had to just wait for another IND letter to say the king has now signed the letter, which I received on the 29th of March, 2023. So a little over a month later. And in that letter, they also tell you the next steps. Next step is the ceremony. A lot of municipalities are too small, so they don't have like physical ceremonies. My friend applied for the citizenship in Hoofddorp and she did not have a ceremony that she had to attend. She just had to sign a letter and send it through post. But I think if you are in a bigger municipality like The Hague or Amsterdam, then you have to visit a ceremony physically. The letter that I received that the king has now signed the decree, it asked me to wait for the letter that will tell me when the ceremony is going to be. This is very dependent on how many people are applying for the citizenship, and it can take a while before they give you a ceremony date. So I received a letter on the 2nd of June 2023 telling me my ceremony is going to be on the 10th of July 2023. So it was almost 2 months later that I received the letter of when my ceremony is going to be, and the ceremony was a month later. So from the king signing the letter that I'm now Dutch, it was 3 months later that I actually attended the ceremony. I told you, this is a waiting game. You better have patience if you want to become Dutch. So during this time, all you have to do is wait and keep an eye on your mail or your Mijn Overheid inbox, and that's all you can do basically. And on 10th of July, I went to the ceremony. I made an entire short about the whole ceremony and my experience, which I will link it here. I wore my sunflower dress as an homage to Van Gogh, and it was quite a cool experience, I have to say. The ceremony was at the Amstel Stadsloket, and you are with all of these other people who are becoming Dutch that day, and they basically sit you in this big room and they show you a video about Amsterdam, because I'm an Amsterdammer now. Yeah, and the whole video was about Amsterdam is for iedereen. Everybody is welcome. Amsterdam is for everyone. I don't know, like it was a very emotional moment for me. And my friend joined me, so you can bring a +1 to the ceremony, but they don't sit with you. And my friend was also filming, and it's just everybody, you see so many people there who are just so happy and joyous, and it was really a very cool experience. And then wait for your turn when they call out your name. And when they call out your name, you have to go to the center